payment ගන්න බැරි වෙන පළවෙනි සිද්ධියක් ඕක. අපි කියන දේ නෙමෙයි deliver කරන්නේ. So ඒක crucial point එකක්. අනිත් එක තමයි payment ගන්න බැරි වෙන එක right. I'm very good at collecting payments. I'm really good at collecting payments. Okay. Why? You should show the importance of you. One thing, customer build the trust with us for us to have the continuous supply for them. Okay. So, and you should have the strength. You should have the strength to, stop serving the customer at any given point. Okay, you should have the strength to stop serving the customer at any given point, but you can do that only if you are stronger and only if you make your customer survive because of you. Otherwise, you can't. The mama customer කෙනෙක්ව convert කරාට පස්සේ I take the maximum out of it by converting that customer to depend, maybe sometimes 100% on my product and the service. If so, you create a demand, you get the control over your customer. You do ethically, remember, you don't do unethically, because unethically karot ehema you are gone. එච්චරම තමයි life එක. ඔයාගේ you do ethically, you need to make sure your customer is benefited because of you. Higher margins එන්නේ ඔයාගෙන් නම්. එතකොට ඔයාගේ product එක විකුණන්න ලේසි නම් ඔයා නම් හොඳටම සර්විස් එක දෙන්නේ බඩු ඉල්ලන වෙලාවට ටක් ගාලා ගිහලා ඩෙලිවරි වැහෙන්න එක එනකන් ඉන්නේ නැහැ. මම වාහනේ දාගෙන හරි ගිහිල්ලා item ටික දීලා කස්ටමර්ගේ වැඩේ කරනවා නම් කස්ටමර්ට ඔයා හින්දා එයාගේ වැඩේ convenient නම් customer is happy with you finally. If so, what will happen? Losing you as a salesperson, as a supplier, is a hassle for the customer, is a loss for the customer. So you being a salesperson should create your customer into that level. ඔය level එකට customer කෙනෙක්ව ගන්නවයි කියලා කියන්නේ, right? Customer will prepare the check and call you saying that ඒ ඔයාගේ check එකක් ready අරගන්නයි කියන එක. හැබැයි customer ගෙන් ඔයා depend වෙනමයි කියන තාක්කල් salesman කෙනෙක් විදියට customer feel උනොත්, which means if the customer bargaining power is high, right, where you don't have a better grip with the customer, relationship with the customer, no proper control over the customer, collection of payment is a challenge, especially at this particular moment. I don't know who was asking that question. So let customer depend on you and you don't depend on customer as a salesperson. එතන තමයි challenge වෙන්නේ. අපි ගිහිලා සමහර ලාවට කියනවා අනේ සර් මේකේ මේ target එක ගහන්න විදියක් නැහැ. These are typical mistakes what sales people are doing. අයියෝ සර් මේ month එකේ target ගහන්න ඉඳන් මම කැලේ ටිකක් එවන්නම් අපි පස්සේ මේ payment එක ගමු. ගිහිල්ලා dump කරනවා පුළුවන් තරම් customer ට. Okay, dump කළා මොකද මේ මිනිහට විකුණ ගන්න බෑ. අර අහිංසක මිනිහා බඩු ටික පුරවගෙන බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා, because without him selling his product, your product to the market, how can he pays you? You can't pay. He can't pay. So these are certain other mistakes what we see. I don't know someone who was from the pharmaceutical, because I'm training a couple of pharmaceutical companies here. In this country. So what we see, the sales medical rep gila doctor wa promote karnawa, sales rep gila pharmacy guy wa promote karli wala, right? Samarlada medical rep pade liyan doctor liyana tattwata doctor wa pat karanne, salesman gihilli wala pharmacy ekata badu danawa, badu tika helena payments denne. Pharmacy can payment then doctor prescribe කරන්නේ product එක. I can't give you. Doctor prescribe කරන්නේ pharmacy can බඩුවක් එළියට යන්නේ නැහැ. So see, these are typical mistakes. What කවුද ඒ අහපු කෙනා ඉන්නවද මේකේ දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ? I don't know who was asking that. I may not be there sometimes, right? So remember, you should make sure that you're keeping that part. Okay, so since we were talking about the morale here with this, overpromise and under delivery is a killer for customer relationship. Don't do that. Okay, so you got to use it. So you need to identify two different dimensions. This is another theory you can use. Okay, this is another theory you can use for the assignment, no doubt. එහෙම කිව්වම තමයි කට්ටිය දැන් පොඩක් අර හරි බරි ගහලා නැගිටින්නේ. Okay, this is another theory you can use for the assignment. Now there are two major dimensions you got to talk about if you are to manage the customer service excellence. One is your procedural dimensions and the other one is the personal dimensions. මොනවද මේ procedural dimensions කියලා කියන්නේ? Select කරගන්න company එකේ process එක බලන්න. මොනවද ඒ company එකේ procedures මොනවද කියලා බලන්න. Sometimes let's say as example companies are having procedures. I don't care. Right? If my products are delivered on time, I don't bother about the company procedures. Okay, so එතකොට company එකේ procedure එක අනුව if you identify the customer satisfaction is reducing, quotation delays වෙන්න පුළුවන්, delivery delays වෙන්න පුළුවන්, payment mechanism වෙන්න පුළුවන්, or whatever you name it, depending on the company what you have identified. Identify the areas where you feel that they have certain procedural issues or positive side of the procedures. You got to critically evaluate this. මොනවා හරි select කරගත් company මොනවාද procedures. අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදිහට as an example you were talking about the bill payments. Okay, let's say the telco company as an example. Okay, you take monthly bill doesn't go on time. The moment you exceed the limit, the disconnections are taking place. So just because of their procedural concerns, the customer satisfaction is reducing. Okay, I'm just taking a hypothetical example. And another example. Okay, let's say you want to buy a TV and their company procedure is to have a bulk delivery on the same area. Until that, they don't deliver. Who cares if I pay my money to the company to get a TV? I need that TV either today or tomorrow. If I pay it today, I'm happy if I can get it today. If not, failing which, tomorrow for sure I need it because it's my money I have paid. But if the company comes and say, hey, look here, මේ පැත්තට delivery එකක් එනකන් අපි බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා sir, මේමයි මෙහෙමයි අපිට මේක කරන්න බෑ කියලා ඉවරලා, that is your procedural dimensions. You go and fly a kite, I need my money back, I need my TV, and if you don't deliver, what happened? I can go and sue the company. Where? කොහෙටද ගිහිල්ලාද? Consumer Affairs Authority. පාරිභෝගික ආරක්ෂණ අධිකාරියට ගිහිල්ලා මට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේගොල්ලන් deliver කරනවායි කියලා කිව්වා. මගෙන් සල්ලි ගත්තා. මේගොල්ලන් deliver කරේ නැහැ වෙලාවට. මට TV එක එපා. As an example, I'm just taking because your procedural dimension and not the individual customers or your customers procedural dimensions. If you take ඕගොල්ලෝගේ procedural dimensions වලින් customer ට hassle එකක් වෙනවා නම් ඒක එක. So selected company identified whether you get these dimensions, whether you can identify procedural issues or procedural dimensions which makes the customer happy. Happy නම් happy කියලා ලියන්න. issues තියෙනවා නම් issues මොනවද කියන එක දෙකක් තුනක් highlight කරලා ගන්න. Okay, the second dimension is the personal dimensions. ඒ කියන්නේ විකුණන පුද්ගලයාගේ මත තියෙන dimensions. Now let's say as an example, company doesn't have any procedural dimensions, but people dimensions are the concern. Okay, personal dimensions. Attitude of the salesperson is not good to manage the customer satisfaction, right? Order එක ගත්තට පස්සේ sir මේක මගේ වැඩක් නෙමෙයි sir මම මේ ඔය ඒරියා එක බලන්නේ අපේ delivery එකේ මම දන්නේ නැහැ sir මම ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන් deliver කරොත් එමයයි නැත්නම් මම බලලා මේවා කරන්නම් බැරි වුණොත් මම sirට සල්ලි දෙන්න කරන්න. See the attitude. එහෙම වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Very recently I will tell I mean last week experience one of my local supplier, right? And supplied certain set of items, bit of high value project, and I said, hey, look here, it was not delivered the expected volume to complete the project. The complete items are not there. So what did they said? Okay, the shipment is not arrived and it will take some more time for you to get these items. That's none of my business. Because when we were placing the order, if it is communicated saying that it will be delivered on time and with these conditions, it should be met. So those are procedural dimensions. No, we have to wait till, because there were certain items what they had in inventory allocated for some other customer. I said, look here, you have promised multiple customers on the same products. I don't bother. Either you have to supply or else you have to take the inventory back. These items back, which I can source from a different supplier in the market. So I said that. Then what happened? They managed to deliver somehow. Look here, customer doesn't bother about your procedural issues. ඕගොල්ලෝ එකම ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක තියාගෙන කස්ටමර්ස්ලා 10 දෙනෙක්ට ප්‍රොමිස් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ වැඩ ලංකාවේ සෑහෙන්න තියෙනවා. රයිට්? එක අයිටම් එකයි තියෙන්නේ. කස්ටමර්ස්ට කියන බඩු තියෙනවා. බයෙන්ට ඕඩර් එක දෙන්න. තව එක්කෙනෙක්ට කියනවා බඩු තියෙනවා බයෙන්ට ඕඩර් එක දෙන්න. දැන් පළවෙනි එක්කෙනාට ඕඩර් එක දෙනවා, දෙවෙනි එක්කෙනාට ඕඩර් එක දෙනවා, තුන්වෙනි එක්කෙනාට ඕඩර් එක. දැන් කාටද දෙන්නේ? කාටද දෙන්නේ? ඕක genuinely කිව්වනම් okay මෙච්චරයි item තියෙන්නේ first come first serve basis දෙන්නේ. ඔයා දානවා නම් order එක දාන්න දැම්මම නැත්තම්. Very recently I will tell another pharmaceutical company I wanted to supply a certain solution. Okay, so what they were asking, they said okay, it will take some more time to complete the the final order contract. I said that is perfectly okay from my side. You know the current situation, and if I have to import and supply, I will not be able to give the same price. I have only this number of units in my hand, so I can't block without a payment also. If you can at least keep a word, keep a confirmation and give an advance payment, I can block my inventory. Otherwise, I will not be able to. And don't just say that type of a communication and refer to that communication if it is kind of a large value and kind of a project or the contract where you have to go on certain procedures. You have to keep it in writing, saying that okay, thank you very much for the conversation we had, and it was really great to discuss, but due to the prevailing situation, we have these issues of reserving inventory. ඔය communication එක ගෙනියලා ඒගොල්ලොන්ට එක trust එක build කර ගන්න ඕනේ. නැත්තම් ඔය personal dimensions වලදී අපි බොරු කිව්වොත් එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? යෝ සුම්මා වෙන්න තමයි වෙන්නේ. මොකද ඊට පස්සේ ඔලුවස නම් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද අපි order එක ගන්නකොට දැන් අපි ඒ දේ communicate කරලා තියෙනවා නම් order එක ගන්නකොට බඩු නැති වුණත් we are at the safe side. Then I can tell hey look here මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වා. මට තියාගෙන ඉන්න බෑ මේ condition එක. I have told you all, so now we don't have stock and I will not be able to offer you the same price as well. So who is into the blame side? The customer is into the blame side. As much as possible, we need to communicate these conditions. You need to be transparent in this. සමහර ඒගොල්ලෝ බඩු නැහැ කියන හරි ලැජ්ජයි. Don't. Right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති, right? If managers are here, කියන්නේ සමහර ඒගොල්ලෝ බඩු නැහැ කියන එක කියන හරි ලැජ්ජයි. Companies, students, remember, right? Large corporates වල orders ගන්නවා pending shipments වලට. Okay, බඩු නැහැ කියලා කියන එක it's usual. Stock එක හැමතිස්සෙම full වෙලා තියෙන්නේ නැහැ ඕගොල්ලන්ට බඩු විකුණන්න salesmans ලාට. Okay, I can remember once sometime back in 2008-9 වල වගේ, that was only case. Government tenders කරන කට්ටිය ඉන්නව නම් මෙතන දන්නවා මගේ bid bond එකක් encash කරපු පළවෙනි වතාව. Right, මගේ bid bond එකක් encash කරපු පළවෙනි වතාව government tender එකකදී අපි offer කරනවා bank guarantee එකක්. අපි agree වෙච්ච conditions වලට deliver කරනවායි කියන එක. My shipment got delayed for about 3 months. 3 months out of my controls. 2006 or 7 හරි මම මතක විදියට. Right, my shipment got delayed for about 3 months. And since it's a government tender, right, they decided to encash my guarantee, the financial bond guarantee what I have given them, and recall the tender. Right, I was managing it for about 2.5 months, but I couldn't hold it. So අනේකයි එතනදී මගෙත් failure එකක් වුණා. Reason එක තමයි I couldn't communicate. My communication was lacking by that time with the party, with my client. So